Hello everybody and welcome to Moti playing Sound of Drop Fall into Poison. Let's jump right into it, shall we? For the record, Batch my first try to record this, so second try. Haven't seen past the 20 minutes mark yet. Beautiful music, and let's go! Before she realized it, the girl was standing before an imposing door. The girl occasionally came to maintain the aquarium alone. She watched the manta rays, she watched the jellyfish, and finally, she decided it was time to go home. Where is this? She had her doubts, but there should be nothing else here except for the aquarium. She assured herself that she had probably wandered off into a side path. The door before her had a large padlock hanging from it. Just as she had heard, it was unlocked and merely dangling there. The girl drew in a breath. Being locked would usually mean that it was a place she shouldn't enter. Being open just meant that a staff member had forgotten to lock it. So going in was out of the question. Her curiosity piqued. She was past the point of persuasion. Her imagination ran wild and her mind raced at the prospect of what might lie beyond the door. Just for a little bit. She opened the door and saw lots of glass tanks. Several types of fish hailing from the deep seas, from football fish and raw fish to pelican eels and barrelays were swimming about. But why is this an exhibition? She thought it over, wondering why this would be in a closed-off area. Behind her, the door was shut on its own. The girl spaced out, staring at the deep-sea fish swimming about. They would leap from the tank and swim mid-air. The entirety of the room was the fish in their ocean, though it was an unnatural occurrence. The girl treated it as quite normal. Wasn't there originally a deep-sea fish booth that was shut down? She suddenly remembered, at that moment, her surroundings were dyed deep red. The water in the tanks, the fluorescent lights, all of it was red. The girl's vision also became red. When she opened her eyes, the girl was back in her own room. It was well into the night. She couldn't remember how she had gotten home after all of that. But, more importantly, she had a bad feeling about something else. This isn't right here. She became aware of how hard it suddenly was to breathe. No matter how hard she gasped, she was unable to get oxygen into her body. Like the fish who couldn't breathe anywhere but in the water, she couldn't breathe unless she was inside that red column. She was convinced. On impulse, she threw open the window, leaned out and thrust a hand outside. She couldn't inhale the wind flooding her room. She could only smell its milky, unpleasant scent. Oh! At that moment, the girl's body was tossed into the air. For just a second, her body seemed to float, like a fish in the sea. The room was on the 12th floor of her apartment building. In her fading consciousness, The girl watched her blood flow endlessly from her body. It's wet. Only then could she breathe. Now everything would be fine. The girl smiled. The full moon in the night sky smiled too. Drip, drip. The sound of falling drops. The moon was concealed behind the clouds, and all of the lights in the town were covered in water. The sound of it, the only thing left to resonate. She couldn't tell whether it was hot or cold, merely that the humid air was encircling her. Drip, drip. Wherever they were falling to, wherever they were coming from, the drops just continued to trickle out. That single drop, I stopped it with both hands. The sound of that solitary wet drop. Okay, Himeno was the taller one, I think. As I said, I tried this part of the game once, but I still don't know which voice to give her. Or at least, there's an urban legend that goes like that. Okay, Mayumi is the small blue-haired one, which is also us. We are Mayumi, I think. So I will give her the melancholy girl voice as best I can. Just taking some notes over here to remember later. Talking about Martin Aquarium again, that's your new thing, isn't it? While stuffing her lunch into her mouth, Tamagawa Himeno spoke, her eyes sparkling. I had no idea which point in the story got her so excited. That's right! That's right! Isn't this the scariest part? That the girl jumped to her death smiling after coming back from Menton Aquarium? It's pretty bad. Yet you don't seem the least bit scared, Himeno. That's not true. I've got chills running down my spine. Someone who got chills running down her spine wouldn't be eating a pastry so cheerfully. Someone who's got chills running down her spine wouldn't be eating a pastry so cheerfully. And hey, that's my meatball. During a break in the conversation, Himeno stole a side dish from my boxed lunch. This minced meat from growing cows and little piglets. It's the best. Why do you have to put it like that? Gee, why would you have to make me lose my appetite? I'll give you the rest of it. Alright, I'll take it. Himeno takes the rest of the meatballs for my lunch with amazing wisdom. The reason that I, Nakanobe Mayumi, lost my appetite wasn't because Himeno's story scared me. Menton Aquarium and I are connected in a way that I would rather not think about. Of course, Himeno has no idea about that connection. If she knew, she would never mention Menton Aquarium around me again. At the same time, I've been afraid that this thing might cause Himeno to stop talking to me. Himeno is pretty much my only friend. It isn't that I haven't talked to anyone since entering junior high, just that the only person I can actually call a friend is Himeno. Seriously? I think this whole mental aquarium rumor obsession is getting a bit much. Maybe. There's so many rumors though. Like that there's a man's ghost in the tanks, that the deep sea fish booth is only open on the full moon, that the water changes into blood, or that you can hear crying from behind the tanks. That earlier one goes with this one. Also, no. That's fine. You don't need to say anymore. I say firmly, causing Himeno to make a sour face. Soon after, Himeno changes the subject, first to a TV drama that aired the night before, then to some cute fake nails with cats on them she found in a magazine. She then talks about a classmate who was dating a boy from a nearby private school, alighting on one subject before quickly changing to the next. Normally, the subject of mental aquarium shouldn't have popped up again. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, what exactly are we getting back to? Mental aquarium! I looked into it, and this Sunday will be a full moon. Huh? That was all I could say, the rest of my words unable to come out. So we should go and see if the rumors are true or not. But I know you aren't interested in stuff like urban legends, Mayu, but next week we'll start preparing for the end of the semester, and I won't be able to hang out with you. Lately, we haven't gone anywhere together, have we? If the full moon was next Sunday, I'm sure Himeno wouldn't have said anything, but I suspect because it happens to be this Sunday, and next week happens to be our exams, she has chosen Mentan Aquarium. I know that I am not hiding my confusion or my hesitation very well. Even so, Himeno turns a carefree grin my way. Since it's an aquarium, even if the rumors aren't true, we can still have fun, right? Well, that's true. Usually, anywhere I go with Himeno, I have fun. Whether or not we would have fun was not what I was worried about. By the way, Mayu, in the east building of Mentan Aquarium, they have a Häagen-Dazs. As in the eat-in restaurant. They had closed up at one point, but it looks like they have reopened for a limited time. Really? Really? They have the cookies and cream flavor you'd like too, Mayu? Of course, I hesitate, but in the end, that settles it. Then we'll go, as long as we definitely got some cookies and cream. Saying you have no money because you did too much shopping is out of the question. I know. After all, I'm something of a glutton myself. Fine. In the end, we settled to Mentan Aquarium and ice cream for the Sunday, since I have already received my reward money for moving on to the next grade. I don't need to worry about my allowance. Still, it's been 5 years. Did you say something, Mayu? Nope, nothing. I bite my tongue, covering the words that had carelessly spilled out. I'm looking forward to the aquarium. It's probably been about 10 years. I'm looking forward to the cookies and creams. It's probably... sorry. I'm looking forward to the cookies and cream. It's probably been about 10 years. That's not true. It's the truth. That's the only thing I'll eat there. Himeno goes, "You little," as she playfully scratches my cheeks. The end of lunch chime sounds, and Himeno goes back to her own seat. If it was Jimeno, it will be fine. That's what I told myself at the time. Okay. Play a little more. Speed. Didn't know I do this. Secret voiceover. Sunday is 3 days after that. The day I promised to go with Jimeno to Mountain Aquarium has arrived. We are to meet at noon at the Mountain Joe station. As it is customary for me, I arrive 30 minutes early. Leaning against a pillar, I do nothing but space out. Tons of people pass before me. Mountain is really crowded on days off. Even so, there aren't really that many families or groups of students. Everyone around me appearing to be adults. Because of that, I quickly begin to feel uneasy. Within this crowd, I am alone. Inexplicably, my head begins to hurt. I wonder if Jimeno will be here soon. I mutter to myself, then look at my shoes. Deep blue sandal boots that were this year's newest product. When Mom and I had stopped off at the department store on Saturday, she bought them for me after some coaxing on my part. They were far from what you would call high quality, but they were still a bit pricey on a junior high schooler's allowance. I'm not usually the type to beg, but I couldn't take my eyes off these boots. My mom bought them with almost no resistance, saying, "You're going out of town, you need to look your best." I liked both their form and their color, and I found them a better fit for the summer season than anything else. I take my cell phone out and check the time. There are still 15 minutes to go until we are to meet. Since Jimeno is always 3 minutes later than the time we establish, I've got about another 20 minutes. I finished reading my paperback on the train, so I have nothing to kill time with. There's nothing I can do about it, so I decide to keep myself from boredom by watching the people passing by. If I don't keep myself distracted, horrible thoughts will receive in my mind. I'm always worried about what will happen if I'm late though. It had actually been a month and a half since Jimeno and I had gone out. We always talked at school, but rarely spent time together afterwards. Anyone who saw us probably thought we were opposites. Outings like this aside, I often spent my days off at home. When I was in elementary school, our family would go out often, but lately it's been limited to dining out on Saturdays. So when I'm asked what I do when I stay at home, I usually just say I do nothing. Doing homework and watching TV is stuff that seems pretty common to me. On the other end of the spectrum is Jimeno, who goes out regularly. I often hear stories of when she went to karaoke on weeknights or about how she traveled out of town on Sundays. She's a member of an active sports club and often wants to hang out with them afterwards. Going out of town on the already limited days we have off tends to make me think, even though it's a day to rest, I don't feel rested at all. In other words, something like this is the difference between Jimeno and I. Without much common ground between us, why we became friends is... and with that, the episode ends. No, really, I'm out of time. So, till next time, dear viewers. Until next time.